a warm welcome, Dr. Sangeeta. That's first thing. And thank you so much recording Nadi Yoga album and making sure that there is Lingashtakam. Because it's the reason Lingashtakam is there and we both are together talking about it.
Thank you
So
much.
Lord Shiva wanted us to come together. I told you.
Yeah, this is a sweat for sure.
He just wanted you to sweat a bit.
For sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming today, joining us, and now with the questions, enlightening the audience on Nadi Yoga, chanting, and Lingashtakam, and the beautiful Lingashtakam. So thank you so much. I'll quickly jump into the questions.
Yes, please.
So our first question is, Dr. Sangeeta, you have been exploring sound chanting for many years. How did it happened to you for the first time? How did you feel that this is the way to travel inwards?
So, thank you all so much again. Thank you, Shivaniji, for your patience. And thank everyone for keeping up with the changed schedule. The first thing I would like to say is that I am here at Ananda Ashram. It's the Gurukulam of my Guruji, Yogacharini Dr. Nanda Balayogi Bhavanani. It is a home, so you will be hearing sounds of people coming and going. So I just wanted to tell you that. So the first memory I have as a child is of chanting, actually. So I remember these games I used to play when I was a child, chanting with different types of wildlife, actually. So I was in nature and I was finding a lot of solace and a lot of comfort in using my voice to connect with nature, especially animals. And I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but my soul obviously had led me to that type of enjoyment. So from there, I didn't really understand the power of chanting until I was a little bit older. I started singing. I was in Italy, so I was exposed mostly to pop music, rock music. So that's the first type of music that I got, to enjoy. And only later in life, after a few experiences, very profound experiences I had, I realized that the voice truly has the capacity to invoke and evoke, as Dr. Nandaji says, very powerful vibrations that are at the heart of our health. And so since 2010, I have been coming here at Ananda Ashram and have mostly focused on the understanding of Sanskrit invocation, chants, mantras, and so on.
So a very technical question here. A lot of people don't understand Sanskrit, and most of the chanting is in Sanskrit. So I want to understand that what is more important, the meaning of understanding the meaning of verse, shlok, chant, and then chanting it, or tapping yourself, enjoying the energy of the vibration, and then chanting. What is more important?
This is such a beautiful question, and I think personally both are important. So if you're thinking of, for example, the integration of the two is where the actual grace happens. It's, of course, for someone like me who came to Sanskrit when I was 36 years old. I had studied languages before, but so I had a big passion for sounds and languages. But at the beginning, and even now, actually, Shivaniji, even now there are many, many cultural details and aspects and practices that I don't understand. It's a constant process of revelation for me. But I think that the first step can be curiosity or a certain calling, and feel like find a mantra on YouTube and get passionate about it and experience the vibration. That is the power of the mantra, that it will call you. But the second step as an adult, as a mature person, is to also realize that there's a level of cultural appreciation and respect that has to be there. Because it is very important to know what we're doing. It's important to know where this language comes from, how it has evolved. What do actual yogis understand is the origin of the sounds, and and that way also have the capacity to study, uh, ask experts, train with experts, and somehow give back to the culture of origin through one's efforts. I think it's very important. I'll tell you something else about this. One student of mine, a very dear student of mine in the United States, she was fascinated by a mantra because of the meaning of the mantra. She really thought it would be good for her to invoke it. And she asked me if it was okay for her to set the mantra to her own original composition of music. And my answer was preferably not.
Yeah,
Preferably not. And so the reason why I bring it up is not to talk about the student, but to talk about a trend that I can see everywhere, where we find something and we set it to what we are pleased to do. And it's okay if these music, or this, if it's like an original poem, or if it's a prayer that has been penned by a contemporary artist, then it's fine. But when we talk about the cultural tradition, the spiritual tradition of a particular culture, then I think that we really need to bring the two together. That said, perfection is not what it's called for. So, I am doing my best to pronounce, even in the album, I know there are many mistakes, in the sense that if a Sanskrit scholar will listen to the album, they will, let me know all of the mistakes and things like that. But in that way, to finish this answer, each parampara is a little bit different. In the
absolutely.
of Swami Gitananda Giri with Dr. Nandaji and Shaktima Devasena, we are always invited to chant and to do our best. Excuse me just a second. Shanti.
So, friends, Dr. Sangeeta is just joining in. She is there to maintain the silence because she's in the ashram.
Anyway, yes, so, in this tradition, we do our best and leave the rest. So we are invited to enjoy, do our best effort to study, but then also enjoy and not wait for the moment of perfection, because that may not come being born in a different culture, right? So
Absolutely, Dr. Sangeeta, you've very well said, and you have created that line of respect as well. That if you are pursuing something, then pursue it with cultural respect, cultural appropriation. Just don't follow the trend, what is happening around. Just make sure that you get into the right, authentic way of doing it. And this is also correct that uh, the all gurus have their own parampara, so you have to follow that parampara because when we talk about yoga, when we talk about ancient Indian tradition, it's always about Guru Shishya Parampara, and there the oral tradition comes into existence. So I completely agree with you on this, and maybe um, now I'll tell you about myself that what happens is I just stumble upon some chant, and then the rag, the way it has been chanted, that connects with me, and it happened with me when I started following your iTunes Nad Yoga album. And this Lingashtakam used to replay again and again. And for 6 months, I just used to wrap myself with a Ekagra chit and follow your sounds. I had no clue what I am listening. I'll say because Sanskrit, even for Indians, Sanskrit is not our first mother tongue. Hindi is our mother tongue. But yes, we are quite blessed that we in a schooling, in our education system, we have been exposed to Sanskrit a bit. So that's why there is some connection. But yes, so I used to constantly hear your audio again and again. And for 6 months, I never realized when I started chanting with you, with your audio, Brahma Murari Surachita Lingam, Nirmalabhasiddha Shobhita Lingam, Janma Dukha Vinashaka Lingam, Tatra Namami Sadashiva Lingam. This is your rag. This is your rag. This is the way you have chanted in Nadayuk album. So this is how I started following your chanting. So now coming back to Lingashtakam. How beautiful devotional chant is this? What are the qualities which can connect us with Bhagwan Shiv through this chant? Can you elaborate on this a bit?
Thank you. I would like to read what Parampuja Ammaji, the mother of Dr. Nanda Balayogi Bhavananiji and wife and Dharma Patni of Swami Gitananda, wrote for us in English, for the students here of the ashram, because she wrote something very beautiful at the beginning of the Lingashtakam, and I think it's worth hearing her voice for a moment, for sure. So she writes, the Shiva Lingam is important to yogis as the symbol of stability and the one-pointed mind. It is the pillar, stambham, which holds the edifice of mind erect.
Mm.
Many associations have grown up around the lingam through the millennia. The lingam is the last visible symbol of the material world before the mind dissolves into pure spirit. It is said that all persons who chant this Lingashtakam with devotion and realization will attain the highest state of consciousness, Shiva Lokam, or the plane of everlasting and total goodness. So these are the words of Ammaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani. And I think, as you know, the Ashtakams are 8 verses, and the great sages, the Munis and Rishis of Sanatana Dharma here, Bharat, have composed Ashtakams. The number 8 is such a powerful number. So already beginning with the 8, whose symbol is the param, really, because it is, this constant flow. And when you see it on its
Right. Yeah.
the infinity symbol,
Yes.
already there's something about the number, about the yantra of choosing 8 verses in this hymn. It's a hymn full of mantric sounds. And what's beautiful about the Lingashtakam is that through stories, the yajna of Daksha, for example, or Ravana, or the story of the pillar of light of Tiruvannamalai. There's so many of stories, but the use of stories is to absorb the mind into silence. Isn't that beautiful? I think that that's truly remarkable. So there are all of these stories, and we can learn about the stories and about the culture and about, various attributes of Shivam, all of the saguna aspects of the mantra. But then ultimately, the lingam itself, once Dr. Nandaji explained, is that when you do the abhishekam over the lingam, what you will see is the bindu,
Yes.
because the kumkuma chandana. No? So the bindu is the ultimate
Yes.
point of reasoning. So how beautiful Shivaniji it is. This is actually the heart of Nad Yoga, is that we express our voice and we work with stories and adjectives, and we remember specific occurrences of the great manifestation of these divinities, of the devatas. But ultimately, this is to absorb the mind from the worries, from the dukkha, the Lingashtakam says, that come from being in a physical body. And then from there we are able to slowly abstract the mind into a one point. And then by grace, hopefully let it fly beyond these attributes. So I think this is where in chanting is truly a fantastic, amazing, and very useful tool to absorb the mind from worry to oneness.
That's so beautiful explanation. And you know why I'm getting goosebumps while you were answering this? Because getting this answer with this kind of intention, with this kind of enthusiasm while talking about chanting, while talking about Lingashtakam from an Indian person, I understand. But from a Spanish person, this reflects your sadhana, Dr. Sangeeta. This reflects your sadhana, that how much you have immersed yourself into these chants, into these sounds, that you feel so anchored with them, so grounded with them. You Also, while explaining Lingashtakam, you answered one of my inquisitiveness, that why chanting is so powerful, why repeating those sounds again and again gives you that anchoring, give you that grounding, and sometimes makes you emotional as well. You have already answered it through Lingashtakam. So that's why now I'm jumping to the next question on Nada Yoga. So there are a lot of listeners, the audience will be watching it later. We want to understand as a beginner what is Nada Yoga and how different it is from the physical form of yoga, yoga asana or meditation. How different it is from Ashtang, Hat, different schools. What is there about this Nada Yoga?
Thank you, Shivanji. Actually, it's sometimes I have conversations with my father, and he asks me. We just ponder, what is it that can bring someone like me and so many others like me to be blessed by the opportunity to share the teachings of yoga in India. I mean, that's truly remarkable. And of course, I see that when I'm in Italy, I see people from other cultures who are experts in Italian culture. And so it's not possible. But with yoga, it truly is an honor and a privilege. So thank you so much even for your generosity in hosting this conversation, because it's not everyone would be generous and humble enough to host someone who's not from here. So I want to also cherish you doing this. So Nat Yoga mm, is the capacity to understand unity and oneness through the study of the vibratory essence of life. In that way, because as we know nowadays, we know from physics and other scientific subjects, we know that everything has a deeper level of vibration. We know that whatever we see as solid, Einstein said it, of course taught it, it's just mass moving, with vibration. So there's this vibration, this vibratory essence of everything that we are not able to perceive.
Yes.
There is a study of this vibratory essence and a commitment to remember, to listen at a deep level, an inner type of listening to the vibratory essence of all that is. Now, Nadi Yoga is not separate from Hatha Yoga or Pranayama or Karma Yoga or other forms of yoga. It's just a different type of listening. So Nat Yoga can be encapsulated by one teaching again by Parampuja Amaji, which is that the yoga of sound, the sound of yoga is silence. The sound of yoga is silence, because Nat Yoga is often translated as yoga of sound, but it's not truly fully complete as a definition, because it's not only making music or listening to music, or it's more about finding that vibratory silence inside. And so whether we are practicing Hatha Yoga and we're doing asana, or we are practicing pranayama practices, or we are engaging in pratyahara, or we are focusing in dharana practices, in chanting of the mantra or the bija mantras or anything like that, throughout brings everything together is this capacity to listen and cultivate silence inside. So that's how I would define it in a few words. Then, of course, there's a whole, definition of what the scriptures say about Nad. So the Ahata Nad, Anahata Nad, all of these definitions are there. The relationship between Anahata Nada and Anahata Chakra, and the chakra, and all. Yeah, there's much more. But in a few words, I would say, if you're a person um, who naturally enjoys listening, who naturally enjoys feeling the vibration of the sounds of nature, who naturally enjoys listening to the ocean waves, who moves away from crowds or from too much noise, then probably Nadi Yoga would be good for you to study.
I can understand from where it is coming, and especially at this point of time, the way the world is around us, there's so much of distraction, there's so much of digital noise. Everybody want to, why we are taking this kind of vacation, going in the jungles from the cities, or permanently relocating ourselves to some deep intrinsic villages, countryside, because people are done with that noise. People are done with that. And I'm not talking noise which is audible. I'm talking about noise which is mentally, which is going inside our head constantly. Um, so for those people, Dr. Sangeeta, the people who stay in that distraction mode, who are done with that digital noise or that internal noise, one practice from Nad Yoga, what would you like to advise?
Um, it sounds simple, but it is at the heart of everything we do is listening to the sound of the breath. I know that each person's, would have a different relationship with their breath. And we're not even talking here about a form of sonic breath, like, like a sonorous breath. We're more talking about the sound that the breath does when it enters your lungs and expands you from the inside out. Because that feeling at the physical, physiological level is what we hope to achieve at the emotional, mental, and spiritual level. I think what happens with stress, the word stress comes from the Latin strictus, which means tight.
Yeah.
So stress originally means feeling tight, a feeling of tightness. So the breath is not just mechanical and it's not just a feeling, it also has an auditory component. So, in order to cultivate spaciousness inside, we start with listening to the sound of the breath. Just listen to the sound of the breath. And in the silence, because we're advocating for a quiet sound of the breath, not necessarily a sonorous sound, in that silence, one will first hear all of the noises, all of the chit chat, all of the stress, all of the anticipations and the plans and the worries and the thing. That's why most people give up. There are not many people who follow Nada Yoga because it's not very comfortable sometimes. You're sitting there, you're hoping to be quiet, and all of a sudden you have this, cacophony. Give up. It's like it's not working. But actually, the capacity to feel that moment of quiet through the breath in the middle of the city, in the middle of a trigger, in the middle of a moment of panic, is really truly what can change your life. So slowly, starting from the re-education of the nervous system through the breath, allowing the breath to become more spacious. And then, of course, there are teachings on the Soham mantra in this parampara where we inhale and we try to attune to the sound of Sa, the sound of all that is, of Shiva, in fact, going back to the Lingashtakam, and Aham, I am, Shivoham, 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 Soham. So that is an added boon. But really, truly, the beginning is breathing in and breathing out and trying to make that breath really spacious. And notice that you perhaps can hear an inner organs moving, the muscles are stretching, the lungs are expanding, the heart is beating. There's so much music inside already there, and it's all in this area of the heart. So even at an emotional level, the front, the side, the back, we hold so much in this area. So just finding some levity and some spaciousness here is Nadyo. This is the heart of Nadyo. Ultimately, Shivaniji, the last thing I want to say, because I'm very passionate about this, and I can go on. This is a difficult topic to talk about, but it is important. We are educating ourselves to live well so that we exhale our last breath in Sukham, Santosham. Not that we're rushing there, not that we're constantly thinking about it, that no, but if we understand that there's an in breath when we're born, an out breath where we go, and then in the middle there's all this sound.
Yeah,
That's yeah, that's it. So all of the
I
practice,
know.
all of the shlokas, all of the Lingashtakams, all of this is so that we are able to relax enough to live in a serene way.
Sangeeta ji, the way you have explained, so you are the one who's practicing, and I am also the one who's bit practicing. So, but while you were explaining each of it, I can visualize it. And I can visualize how much, how much you open yourself with that, with that breathing and bringing your ekagra chit, bringing your chit there, sitting outside your nostrils and just observing how that, that gush of air is going inside and that coming out and enjoying that sound. This is such a beautiful explanation to make oneself calm. But I know it's just the tip of the iceberg, what you have explained through this conversation. It is vast, it is huge, and the experience is infinite. So yeah, I do totally understand. Last question before we wrap this entire IG live. On personal note, what does chanting means to you? How it how it connects you emotionally or spiritually? What is chanting for Dr. Sangeeta Laura Biagi?
Thank you, Shivaniji. What is it? I think at the physical level, to be able to feel the vibration of one's voice in our bones, that truly is the best feeling I have. Really, I just love that feeling. And the sensation then of bringing that vibration to a Sangha and feeling their vibration and becoming one in that vibration, I think is also a beautiful teaching about social harmony. You know, when I do it by myself, definitely I do it to calm down, to relax. Sometimes because I travel, I'm very lucky and blessed to be able to travel. But sometimes I get a bit sick, say on a plane or on a train or on a boat, and I use the sound of the retroflex Sanskrit. You know, that I use it to help with motion sickness.
Wow.
Yeah, so there are many applications from really the mundane one, like I just said, to the feeling of comfort, because of course humming and chanting, of course they produce neurotransmitters and endorphins and hormones of various types. But then also it connects me to a living tradition. When I chant Italian Gregorian chants also when I'm in Italy and I chant in churches. I like Gregorian chant very much. And that too, you know, how I feel is that I open because of these lungs and the capacity to, if we have enough relaxation and capacity to have a good amount of breath, that of course is the physical manifestation of prana. So when we then offer it to the divine as a prayer, something happens where there's a lifting up of the spirit. You know, lift yourself by the self, says, you know, Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Lift yourself by the self. And to me,
Yeah.
chanting is really that form of inspiration and, invocation like that. So it truly is a multi-layered experience.
How beautiful. The each description of this answer, this conversation, it holds a lot of practice you are bringing with you, and not only practice but experiences. With each practice, what experience you get and what you are sharing with us, Dr. Sangeeta. It is so beautiful to have a conversation with you first. Second is, I'm so happy that you didn't surrender. You said that we'll make this IG live happen. That's another a beautiful Yogacharini attitude attribute, which I really appreciate. That's second thing. And third thing, to all our audience, Nad Yoga, what we discussed today with Dr. Sangeeta, is just tip of the iceberg, what she has shared today. The more you get deeper into this practice, the more power of sounds, vibrations you understand and how you can heal yourself. This is not separate from any style of yoga, what we have got to know today. It is one of the practices, what she has shared, and it is how to cultivate silence inside. So, this can be a beautiful practice for all of us who are done with this distraction and mental noise and chaos. And thank you so much once again, Dr. Sangeeta.
Thank you so much, Vani. I have to say that it's always such a pleasure to be in conversation with you because the quality of your questions, but the way that your heart is open to listen, it's just such an honor. It's very moving for me, actually. So thank you all so much. Thank you for not giving up. And to, I hear here, sorry, I'm going to scroll. I see Saranjin here, and I saw Enrica and Stella also from Italy. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us and for your patience for
Thank you
staying.
so much, everyone. And we are ending this IG Live. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.